This is Jack Carr, and you are listening to Son of a Blitch.
Hello, Jack. Welcome back to the podcast. How are you, man?
Great, and it's wonderful to see you. We're just talking about those arrowheads behind you, and that looks amazing. So cool from your properties in Texas, right there.
They are. They are. These are all surface finds over the years. I mean, I'm looking behind you. Boy, what a sortium of books here. Amazing.
Yep, I mean that's the foundation for everything.
That's right. That's right. Well, I got my cornerstone of my foundation right now is your books here. We've got 8 on the shelf. The ninth one's coming out. Cry Havoc soon, but I want to get into chatting with that. But I really want to dive into the Terminalist. Dark Wolf airs August 27th. Man, this is kind of the prequel story telling a little bit of the history of Ben Edwards. Why don't you just dive in, give us a little taste, a little plot synopsis there for those who may not be familiar.
Yeah, well, actually, we did the premiere a couple weeks ago in New York, and so I got to see it on the big screen for the first time because I've only seen it on this very computer that we're talking through right here, and it was just such a different experience to see it on the big screen last week. It was so cool. I really hope in the future we can take the first 2 episodes and get them out there as theatrical releases because we're filming it in what we call Cinevision, just like the first season. So it's really meant to be a movie because that's how we're filming it. So to give people an option, like maybe the week before it comes out on streaming, give those first 2 episodes in select theaters around the country, at least to test it out
Yeah.
and to get people talking about it a week ahead of time, that sort of thing. So I think that'd be a really cool thing to do. But yeah, after the first one, it was the numbers. I'll never share exactly what the numbers were. That they'll never share exactly their data, but we know they were extremely happy over there at Amazon with the first season. So it became their number one show that midsummer period, and they wanted more. And I'd already been thinking about another show. And so I wrote up a little executive summary about that spinoff, kind of building out the universe. And then Chris called me with this other idea of doing a similar thing, but with the Ben Edwards character, which is what something I hadn't considered because Taylor brought so much depth and humanity to that role, way better than it was done in the first book that I did. And we were wondering like, hey, if Taylor wants to do this, if the other EPs want to do this, Amazon wants more. Chris's schedule is pretty booked up for the next few years before we can dive into True Believer. Let's test the waters. And sure enough, Taylor wanted to explore what would bring his character to the point that he does the things that he does in the Terminal List. It's like, what is that journey from a SEAL teammate, a brother in arms, to what he does in that first season? So that was worth exploring. So we got David DiGilio, the showrunner, Jared Shaw, my buddy from the SEAL teams, who's also a writer, executive producer, actor, plays Boozer on the show, and technical advisor. Came out here, just the room right there, and we beamed Max Adams in, who's a former Army Ranger, via Zoom, and started putting this thing together. And came up with this plot, and gets that kicks off Ben Edwards' journey into the CIA, and kind of the dark side of his soul as well. So that was the what kicked it all off, and I think it's better than the first season. Like that's always the goal. Just with all the books like that are behind you right there. My goal is for every book to be better than the one before it. Just like in life and we're in SEAL teams, my goal is to always be a better operator and leader today than I was yesterday. So I'm so excited to get this show out on the 27th, and then hopefully True Believer will be even better than Dark Wolf. So that's always the goal: learn from those lessons and of the past, and then apply them going forward as wisdom to make an even better show for everybody. So it's I'm pretty fired up.
Right on, man. Well, I'm excited to check it out. Let's dive into a little bit about Ben Edwards. Obviously, he's a Navy SEAL, and then there's a split-second decision that kind of changes the course of him and kind of leads him into the Black Ops world and working with the CIA, where he meets Rafe, who we see in future books and probably future, series events here. So why don't you kind of just kick it off with that? Where is this taking place? What's happening? Kind of just draw us into that, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, he already knows Rafe, so they're in the SEAL teams together in a SEAL platoon, and that's where we find them in Mosul, Iraq, in 2015. That's where this kicks off. So it's a prequel origin story, so it goes back, and then really from there it becomes a story of international espionage and intrigue. So there's a real shift from this first episode that's very military centric, and then moves up into Europe and goes into this world of the CIA and Mossad, and has Iran woven in there, and so it really takes a different turn, as different visually as well. And It introduces characters. So Rafe Hastings, which is a fan favorite character from the books, he gets introduced in now in Dark Wolf, and we're filming True Believer right now with him in it as well. And then we get to meet Landry, Jules Landry from the books. People will remember him maybe from True Believer, and how he meets his. I shouldn't say that. I won't give any spoilers for people who haven't read it. There's a memorable scene with Jules Landry in True Believer that people don't think we're going to film for the show. So people are so negative online. Immediately, they'll never do this. Like the first comment someone made, but we'll stand by. How about that?
There you go.
So you meet some of these characters that are going to be in the show. Mo Farouk gets introduced in Dark Wolf, and he continues on into True Believer as well. And we've really become like a family. It's crazy. It might be trite to say that, but I have people that have come up to me on set who've been involved in hundreds of Hollywood productions, and they say that they've never felt like this on a set before. And we all hang out afterward. We all go to dinners, go drinking together, go play sports together, work out together, and it's really cool. It's really a really special thing and that's all really due to Chris Pratt and David DiGilio, the showrunner, Antoine Fuqua, who set this tone that really makes everybody want to bring their A game because they know that they're getting taken care of, and it's really cool to see.
What was it like being back on set there with that family for you personally?
Yeah, so it's everybody wanted to get back together, and we made it happen, and it's just like a continuation. I actually conflate now. So first season, Dark Wolf, and now True Believer that we're filming for about the next 2 months probably, and then we go into post production on that. Should come out next summer. You never really know. I don't have a date yet on that, but I would guess it would come out next summer. And so now I conflate between the two because it's the same essentially cast crew. You bring the same people, same armorers, same like costume people, makeup people, like they want to be part of the show, want to stay with us, which is so cool. So it's awesome to be back together. We have so much fun, and everybody wants to make the best show we possibly can, and that's really the goal. And I just feel so fortunate that we put such a good solid team together. Really couldn't imagine it being any better than it is.
Well, one thing I wanted to talk to you about, like that team, is that it's comprised of a lot of veterans. I mean, this whole series is like a love letter to the men and women of service, and I've heard that said before by many of the folks who are involved. But you guys give back so much, and there's so much involvement with veterans. I think it's 5 of the 7 different episodes are written by veterans, including yourself there. Thank you for your service. And I wanted to kind of dive into that as far as the involvement of veterans and making sure that there's a level of authenticity that's like no other on set, because that's something that people talked about in the original Terminal List about how authentic and amazing it was for people of service to see that and know that you guys took the time to make it right.
Yeah, it's not a documentary, obviously. It's completely made up, it's fictional. But if you get those details right, so that people who went downrange to Iraq and Afghanistan, or people who are, let's say, police officers or firefighters or EMS of some sort, they can see that you got the details right. So that even though they know the story is fictional, they're not pulled out of it because they see someone like covering their buddy with a finger on the triggers or going through a door or something along those lines. So we really try to get those details right, try to get the mindset, in this case of modern day warrior, right, and make that authentic. And if you do that, then that fictional story springs from that foundation of authenticity. So that's when we say it's authentic, that's really what we're going for. And we try to go for about 80% authenticity, 20% Hollywood hot sauce, as Chris Pratt likes to say. Because you have to move that story forward. You have, in this case, 7 one-hour episodes. Each one of those episodes has its own arc, and then there's an overarching arc throughout the whole thing. You have constraints for budget, for actor availability, locations, like so many different constraints there, which is very different, obviously, than writing a book where there are no constraints at all. You can do whatever you want. So it's really cool to see it all come together. And I walk into it as a student. I'm always a student. I was a student of warfare before. I'm a student of these mediums now. And like I said, wanting to make the next show better than the one before it, make the next book, Cry Havoc. That one comes out October 7th. Make that better than the one Red Sky Morning that came out last spring before this one. So it's always the goal for all of us. But getting those details right on the authenticity piece, that means a lot to everybody that's involved. So we really spend a lot of time on that side of it. And I'm sure someone will take a screenshot somewhere that'll have something wrong, but it's not for lack of effort. That's for sure.
Oh, indeed. Well, I also wanted to talk about another veteran related thing. I saw recently a video with Chris Pratt, Taylor Kitsch talking about the Brain Treatment Foundation, Valor Mission Project. I know you've done a lot of work with the Best Defense Foundation. You guys are giving back in a lot of those ways too. And if you want to talk a little bit about that and maybe some of the personal, groups that you support, and maybe mention about the Best Defense Foundation having World War II vets at the premiere as well, because I know that is just a phenomenal thing, the greatest generation, absolutely by far.
Yeah, that was really cool. So we had the first season also, Terminal List, when that premiered in LA in 2022. We had veterans from World War II there. I've been involved in the Best Defense Foundation for the past few years now. My daughter's been involved. I got to take her to Pearl Harbor. That was the first one that she went to, and then to Normandy multiple times. She went to Market Garden, Netherlands, taking World War II veterans back to the battlefields on which they fought. And it's a really cool thing to see, especially them interact with her generation, because when she first did it, she was 15 or 16, and she's helping get these guys in and out of their wheelchairs, getting them on and off the buses, making sure they're taking their medicine, making sure they're eating, getting into their rooms, picking them up in their rooms, getting them down to the buses to go to the vents. So it's really cool to see her do that and then interact with them in a way where she's totally engaged, no phone, and have someone who's 100 years old telling someone who's 16, 17, 18, 19, and now 20, what it was like to come off the landing craft while they were sitting there on Omaha Beach, and them being able to point out to her where their landing craft was, where they ran at the base of the cliff, and that's that won't be they won't be around for too much longer. So to see those passed along as a dad, it's like it makes me very very proud to see that. So to have these guys at the premiere also was so cool, and some of them came to the after party to see these guys there. 101, 102 years old at the after party. It was just so cool. But yeah, Best Defense Foundation, people can check that out, and great work being done by Donnie Edwards and Catherine Edwards, his wife. They just do such a great job with these guys, and it's a debt obviously we can never fully repay.
Yeah, well, you guys honor them well, and it was, I'm sure, an honor to be spending more time with them every single, experience you get. I was wanting to know about another experience. Is there another cameo that you have in this show? Because we know that you were in the first one. What about this one? Give us a little teaser here.
Let's see. I say keep your eye out. Keep an eye out. Maybe more than once.
Oh, all
Maybe.
right.
Maybe. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You have to have a sharp eye. Yeah, yeah.
Good deal. I can't wait to check that out. You mentioned True Believer. That's the second book in the Terminalist series that you wrote. And I know that Chris Pratt was talking about his enthusiasm for it, the beginning stages of filming in Africa. Where all is that going to be filmed? I know you said you're in the middle of production now. So where are you guys at the moment? I think you just flew in from doing that to do the
Yeah.
UFC 319 with some of your buddies. I know
Yeah.
LaMonica was there and Taylor there, and you guys were one of the sponsors there of the event. Why don't you walk us through a little bit of that travel? Because I know you're still kind of getting back and set here.
Yeah, it's great. We yeah, started filming in March, I think. And but yeah, three different countries so far. Like a fourth coming up here on it for True Believer. And so yeah, going global with this thing. And I saw the first episode the other night because we filmed it obviously a few months ago. So you start getting these things in before you're done filming the whole series because it takes so long to do these. So I got to watch that the other night, and it is awesome. I mean, there's hardly any notes. Like I see hardly any edits in it. But we'll make some, we'll tighten it up, I'm sure. But I think it's good to go as it is. It's so good. I'm fired up for people to see that. And like I said, that should be next summer.
Oh, I'm excited for that one as well. Can't wait to see this continue on. And continuing on, you got your ninth book about to come out, Cry Havoc, October
Yeah.
7th. Why don't you walk us a little bit of that? Because I know in this, we're kind of getting the origin story of Ben Edwards with Dark Wolf, and there's a little bit of an origin story here with Tom Reese, James Reese's father, as far as Cry Havoc. And I want you to kind of lay that out. Give us a little synopsis. Where are you bringing us there in 1968? And let's roll with that.
Yeah, yeah. So the book was supposed to come out in June, and that's coming out in October now because I didn't really anticipate how much extra work it was going to take, how much extra time it was going to take to write every sentence through the lens of 1968. So I didn't want to have this benefit of 50 plus years of hindsight and incorporate that into different characters' perspective on events in 1968. I really wanted to have their life experience up to that point, no matter what they were, whether you're a GRU agent from the Soviet Union or you're a French doctor working inside Saigon, or you're somebody in Mac v Sog, or you're a businessman in Saigon, whatever character you are, I wanted your life experience up to that point in 1968 to be the only perspective you'd be able to give on an event, or take to a certain problem set. So that ended up taking a lot longer than I expected. But the first review came out this morning on the Real Book Spy, so people can check that out. And it's a good one. So you never know till you get it out there. I mean, you pour your heart and soul into these things, and you never really know until it gets out there. But his review is amazing. Says it's the best book of the year, and just couldn't be more humbled by the review, and thankful for it as well. But yeah, 1968 Vietnam, Tom Rees, Mac V Sog. It's really an espionage story that's set in Saigon, 1968. So it's I haven't really seen that done in a while. So there's some inspiration for it comes from The Quiet American by Graham Greene, and there's a couple other ones out there. Tears of Autumn by Charles McCary. And so those kind of ones, but they're older. They're from the ones from the 50s, ones from the 70s, right there. So it really hasn't been done in a while, and I wanted to really set an espionage story in the past, and not just in Washington or Moscow, but in Saigon, so in really the hot zone of the Cold War. And yeah, I couldn't be more thrilled with how it came out. And but it really turned into more historical fiction, because it took so much, and you're not just making it up. It's not contemporary, so you have to go back and look at the names of streets, and now they've changed. What were they when the French took over, and what were they if I'm looking up something, oh no, this is from post 75, so that's not right. So I have to. It took a lot of time, but yeah, I'm fired up to get that out there. And from the very beginning, I made sure that I put in, or I hinted at compelling characters that people would want to read about later. So mainly the Reese family and the Hastings family, Rafe Hastings' dad and grandfather, and James Reese's dad and grandfather as well. So I wanted to have options to explore these different family lineages out there. And so this is the first book in something like that. And for how much time it took, I don't know. It might be the only one. I'm not sure yet. That took a lot out of me this last year. But yeah, out there October 7th, and yeah, I'm fired up.
Well, and it's right on the heels of an actual historical book you wrote, Targeted Beirut, there with James Scott. And I know that was well received, and that's something you've talked about maybe doing a little bit more of. I know you've got so many irons in the fire. Have you started to work on the next book with him, or a next historical book in that realm? I'm just kind of curious what that looks like.
Yep, working on it right now, and yeah, doing the interviews for it right now. Haven't announced what event it is, but yeah, we're well underway. And I don't know if it'll come out in 2026 or 2027. It all depends on how long it takes to do these interviews, and go to a couple places, walk some ground, and then get the story together. So we'll see. But 2026 or 2027 will be the second in the targeted series.
A lot to look forward to. When we were talking about Cry Havoc a second ago, I wanted to make mention too. One thing that you do is you're supporting local bookstores, independent bookstores, by having a signed and shot through edition. Can you tell people a little bit about that, and where they can go on your website to go ahead and order those? I got my copy reserved. I can't wait. I love having anytime that they've come out. I love supporting local bookstores. I think it's super important. And yeah, if you just want to go ahead and plug that, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, it started during COVID, when everyone was locked down, and these smaller independent bookstores were locked down to foot traffic, essentially. So I was trying to think what I could do to help support them during COVID. So I started with these book plates, which, for those listening or watching, they're essentially large stickers that you sign and put into a book. And I had some artwork done on those, so you could only get them from these independent bookstores if you wanted them. So kind of make a collector's thing, give people an incentive to go to these independent bookstores, even though it might take a couple extra minutes, and rather than hitting the easy button on Amazon. That's obviously very quick, but you can't get one of these things there at Amazon. So did that. Everything sold out right away. Did that again for the next book, The Devil's Hand. And then the one after that was In the Blood. And that's really a sniper-centric novel of violent resolutions. That's what was the theme that guided that writing process. And so I decided I'd do something different for that one, because it was a sniper-centric book, and wanted to shoot through a title page. And Simon & Schuster had never done something like that before, so they sent out a bunch of paper that's the same thickness as a paper that gets bound into the book. And then I did some experimentation with different calibers and how many of those I could put together to shoot through, and then sent them back to Simon & Schuster, and they did a test run and to see if it would muck up the printing process or not. And so figured out what calibers work, how many pages I can stack together. So I stacked 50 together, put them between two pieces of cardboard, wrap it really tight, and then in this case I shot through it with a Carr 15, a clone from Colt. So it's the same type of a rifle that the guys used primarily in Mac V SOG in Vietnam, going into Laos, Cambodia, and other places as well. So shot through those title pages and signed them and sent them back to Simon and Schuster. And now the independent bookstores that are linked on my website are the only places that you can get those. So it's just a way for me to continue to support those independent bookstores that are really up against it when it comes to kind of the to Amazon and all the distractions that are out there that are keeping people from reading today.
Well, those bookstores are kind of the origin story of how you got involved with writing and having these books that meant so much to you. And, also wanting to be a Navy SEAL at the age of 7. I mean, this is something that it goes way back. And I know you always have, so much honor that you're placing on previous authors who have inspired you. And, in that kind of makes me think about like legacy. And that's a question I had for you. As far as how you view your legacy, I mean, obviously your years of service, your years of writing, all the different stories you've brought together, but you just kind of maybe tell me, is that something you kind of think about on a day to day? Is that something that comes to your mind? And, seeing all these different authors that paid homage to, what is it about your thoughts about what you're leaving behind for others?
Yeah, I don't really think about it in terms of legacy. I think of it in terms of improvement, doing it better for the next book than the last book. So and just doing it as good as long as people want to keep reading them. Just continuing to write, to branch out into the nonfiction. There's a couple other things I want to branch out into as well, and just keep building. So for me, really, it's about more about building than it is really thinking about legacy. But also, I do think about creating readers because it was so influential on to me in my life and instrumental in what I did in the SEAL teams and beyond. It all really comes from a foundation of reading. So today, when there are so many forces out there that are keeping people from reading, especially younger kids, and it's those formative years, let's say between, let's say, I don't know, 8 and 18 or 8 and 20 or 10 and 20, like somewhere in there, that kids just aren't reading now. They're not even watching TV and going to the movies really anymore. It's a different thing. It's all through this distraction device called the phone, which is now doing our thinking for us, of course, when we're talking about AI and where that's headed. So just trying to bring people back to the analog way and to books and reading, because really that's for me, that's been the foundation of all of this.
Indeed. Now, I just kind of want to close this out. Is there anything that you'd like to say to your friends, your family, your fans, all those that have supported you over these years? So many amazing projects you've been a part of, and so big of a family that you have continued to create with all this amazing cast and different folks. David Brown, all the amazing folks that have been a part of this. But I just want to see if you had a message you'd like to leave with them.
I'm just so thankful. First off, I feel extremely fortunate and try to be thoughtful about all I do. So it's not just the books today. It's the podcast and it's a blog on the website and it's a social media post and now it's TV shows and now it's the nonfiction and there'll be other things in the future, hopefully. But I try to be thoughtful with all of it and for whatever reason, there's an audience there and a readership there, and I just feel extremely grateful to anybody who took a risk on me early on as a new author, especially with all these other distractions out there, and then told a friend, because really that's what did this right from the get-go. There wasn't, I wasn't on Joe Rogan right out of the gate. Chris Pratt didn't mention optioning the show right out of the gate. I wasn't on Tucker's show out of the gate. That took a few years for anybody to say anything or to have me on any of those shows. So it was really grassroots from the beginning. It was posts that I'd put up or somebody picking up the book and telling a friend, whether it was at work or a family member at the dinner table or somebody putting it on their social media and saying to their 10 followers that they just read this book and really liked it and recommended it. And maybe one of those people then read it and then told their 20 followers, and then maybe two of those people got it and then told their followers and or friends or family. So I just feel so fortunate, and that's why I try to as much as I possibly can get back to people and hit that like button and thank people on the social channels, because I really do feel grateful that they took a risk on me and they've continued this journey with me, and it just means the world. So I try to let everybody know that every chance I get.
Well, it comes through. I think a lot of the people really appreciate that you are reaching out and, making that comment, putting that thumbs up. It means a lot to those folks who take the time to, spread the word. I think it's a wonderful community there. Leaving on that, you did mention the podcast, and I wanted to talk about that real quick. Danger Close. Why don't you tell people where they can go and find that? And then also, what is the website they can go to learn more about all the projects going on, if you wouldn't mind sharing that in your socials?
Yeah, officialjackcarr.com. That's the website. Try to keep that updated with blog and keep it updated with what's happening with the TV shows and everything else. There's a merch section there as well that people can go to. They can hit the podcast there as well. It's on Apple, Spotify, and on my YouTube channel. It's all Jack Carr USA on the socials and on YouTube. So that's all there. And podcast is once a week, and try to highlight as many authors as I can and just interesting people that I want to talk to. But I'll tell you what, it's a lot of work doing that. As you know, you're doing one. It's a lot more work than one would think. And I've read every book for people who have come on thus far. So I think in 2026, I might have to take a little different tact with it because there's so many writing projects that I want to do. And I got a little behind this year. And I think a lot of that is the podcast. And as much as I love doing it, I think I'm gonna still do it, but it might take a little different format going forward, or might scale it back a tiny bit just because there's not enough hours in the day, and I need to figure out how to write and maybe get a little sleep at some point.
Sleep. What's that?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Jack, thank you so much for joining me again. It's always an honor and a privilege. And make sure everyone go and check out Terminalist Dark Wolf, August 27th, Cry Havoc, October 9th, it is?
Number 7.
7th. And I can't wait for everyone to check those out. And I'll have all the links below so you guys can order your signed through shot editions. Thank you, Jack, for all you do for your service and for continuing to spread amazing work into this world. We really appreciate
Man,
it.
thank you so much. It was awesome linking up last year. Thanks for doing that, and hopefully I'll see you again here soon.
Absolutely, man. You take care. Thanks again.
Take care. See you.